Did you end up watching the movie?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
Yeah. No, it was
Uh,
great.
you like it?
I did.
I like it too. I hadn't seen it before this. And it's weird because I'm the one who kind of like vouched for Costner and I just hadn't seen Field of Dreams. Like I'd seen Dance with Wolves and I'd seen JFK, but I hadn't seen Field of Dreams. I liked it a lot. It's a strange movie.
It is a bit of a strange movie, but I think it plays it well.
I
Um,
think he does too. I think he does a really good job at, I mean, we'll get into this,
yeah.
but he does a good job at grounding it. Like it is kind of fantasy, it is kind of magical. He's watching Ghost play baseball. There's like a good 40-minute road trip movie like in the middle of it. I don't know, and he kind of does act as a real guiding force to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's that's the thing with Costner is he can kind of sell anything. Like
Hmm.
nothing's really out of his range. He can make it all very naturalistic. It all kind of stays within his temperament. Like I think he becomes underrated in that way, where it's like you get a lot of the method actors, and it's like, oh my God, look how big they can go. You know what I mean? Like they're going huge. Whereas like I also find kind of like Nicholson's the same way, Hanks is the same way, where it all kind of feels like just like natural, and because it's such an extension of them, it like grounds the performance and it grounds the movie.
I put Nick Cage in that category as well.
Why would you put Nick Cage in that category? I don't
I think that
disagree, I'm just curious.
he has all of these sort of like fantastical movies that you get in there, and he's playing it like it's the most serious role of all time.
Yeah.
Off, like Face Off,
Oh yeah, 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 Face Off.
right?
I mean, while that Heart is like that as well, where he's saying some insane I think that's my favorite Cage performance. He's saying some insane lines. He's got like a snakeskin jacket in that one that he's always talking about. And it's all very cartoony and it's all a lot. And it almost that movie's kind of like a riff on The Wizard of Oz. And he does sell it really well. Like he keeps it very I don't want to say natural, but it never feels forced or awkward. It never feels like he's putting on a show. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
it does stay within, and we've covered Pacino, and I love Pacino,
Hmm.
but some of those 90s and 2000 Pacino performances, they do really feel like acting at times, and it's fun. I'm not gonna look down on that because I do really like those performances, and I like watching an actor act. But
Hmm.
there is what something to watching someone where the entire performance feels like an extension of them as opposed to like the show they're putting on.
Yeah.
And for a movie like this, where it is very magical, it is out there. You're bringing back like the 1919 Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a performance like that that grounds the movie and works with a lot of the emotional stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna introduce the show.
Yeah.
I'll just try to leave all that in. Hi, I'm Patrick Mitchell, and welcome back to another episode of the Coyote Picture Club, a show where every month we choose an actor and decide their four best or four defining performances for films in which we think best encapsulate their career. This month is Kevin Costner. This week is Field of Dreams. Ray Kinsella is an Iowa farmer who hears a mysterious voice telling him to turn his cornfield into a baseball diamond. He does, but the voice's directions don't stop even after the spirits of deceased baseball players turn up to play. Today I'm joined by,
Quade. Yeah.
what are you drinking today?
I got a juicy ass flying monkeys.
Nice. I got a steam whistle. So you liked Field of Dreams?
I did like Field of Dreams. I think like at its core, it's a very silly movie, but it plays a lot of these sort of more serious like themes where things about like where he's talking with his dad or the clip with the sort of Nazi fascism book burning area as well. And I think it balances sort of those two aspects really, really well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I read in the dossier, I wrote it's an incredibly sincere film with a real warmth.
Hmm.
It does also feel, I don't know, I do feel there's a lot going on here when you immediately brought up the kind of stuff with the Second World War and stuff with the counterculture, because Ray kind of he is an ex-hippie. I mean, so is the Madigan character, and so much of that feels like it's a very boomer movie in the way where it's like get back to your roots. Remember how we felt in the 60s. Remember when we thought we could make change. Remember when we thought um things could be different. Let's get back to that attitude where we were active and we got things done instead of just settling for what is. In the way that I felt like It feels like a lot of people did at the end of the 80s. But then it's also that thing where it's like a lot of these boomers feel a real disconnect with their parents because, I don't know, their parents went off to war. They went through this huge traumatic experience where they put their lives on the line for their country, and they came back and they it's harder to relate to those people. And the dividing line there seems to be, I feel like a lot of boomer cinema is about, I don't know, their dads haunting them in some way, but I don't know. It's an interesting movie. I also wrote it's a movie about people trying to prove themselves that time has not passed them by. They can
Yep.
undo their mistakes, approach their former selves, and find happiness in family, friends, and play. A classic American film, both a hangout movie with a Midwest American family, but also one that seems to interrogate a broader culture. It's baseball, it's 60s counterculture, it's the reclusive voice of a generation, the ever increasing encroach of capitalism. I feel like everybody knows what this is like a classic American movie. It's a classic dad movie. It's a bit of a classic boomer movie.
I think everybody's dad has been like, "This is a great movie."
Yeah. Do you have a relationship with Kevin Costner? Have you seen any of his movies? Is this the first one?
I do like Kevin Costner. There's a big list. Recently, I went back and I watched somewhat of a corny movie, but McFarlane USA. It's a
I
decom.
like it.
Dude, actually gave me a lot of kind of notes of this movie where he's kind of playing this, very redeemable, another sports movie done like incredibly well, I think. Um, yeah, he plays a very redeemable character and goes through a lot of the same sort of themes that are just beyond, that one being running, this one being baseball. Yeah, and just playing on sort of, the role of the family, role of the household, a lot of the different sort of racial issues in that one as well.
I like McFarlane USA a lot. I don't know. I've always loved Costner. I've enjoyed spending kind of a month watching through his movies because they all feel so classic in the way where we don't make movies like this anymore. I don't know. I just simply think Hollywood would never make a movie that is this sincere now. Any real attempt at sincerity in the Hollywood system, and I don't just mean like movies these days are effects driven. That's not really what I'm talking about. It's more like you can't have a sincere moment in a modern blockbuster because it has to be undercut by some kind of joke.
Hmm.
Like the moment where he sees Shoeless Joe walk out onto the field for the first time, and it looks just beautiful, and it's like Ray Liotta who's hot off Something Wild, which is a great movie. But it's this new minted movie star, and he's going out to see Kevin Costner, and it's like the sun sets behind him, and it's like the two are locking eyes. I don't know, a moment of that much sincerity where Costner is seeing the ghost of his father's idol would kind of end up having to be undercut and played for laughs if it was in a more modern movie.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think our summer movies work in the same way. I
I
don't
mean,
know if an I don't know if an audience now, if this movie didn't come out in the 80s and instead came out today, if they would buy all this.
no, I think they'd be laughed out of the studio.
Yeah.
Regardless of it being like Ghost playing baseball, like there's a solid like sort of what you're talking about. There's like a during that moment where he sort of meets Shoeless Joe, it's like 2 minutes without any dialogue, and they just sort of go and they play their baseball, and it's a really really cool moment that I agree you definitely would not see today.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I also think there's so many scenes between Costner and the Madigan character. I think their relationship feels real. I think it feels authentic. I think there's something there about sharing a life means sharing each other's dreams. It's another thing that helps ground this fantastical story in something authentic, like we were talking about kind of before the intro. And the movie spends a lot of time with their banter and their relationship. I think one of the best scenes in the movie, and we'll get to it, is when they go to that parent-teacher meeting.
Yeah.
And the movie spends a lot of time on their relationship. And once again, I feel like in a modern summer movie, it would kind of him be rushing along for him to get on this road trip, or it would be rushing towards some big grand baseball finale,
Mhm.
or it would be rushing somewhere. And there's something with this movie that it's very cozy, it's a hangout, you enjoy being with these characters and it never undercuts it. And I think if it ever undercutted it, anything that happened in this movie with like, oh, that just happened, or does anybody else see making a joke that
Classic
goes playing
Marvel, yeah.
baseball? Yeah, that where it undercuts it all, this movie simply won't work. it's asking you to buy into what it is. And I guess it's calling out to a generation, or it's a big movie about family and it's a big movie about America, but it is so sincere in what it is trying to be and what it's trying to say. I don't know. I just love being on its wavelength.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, it like I said kind of before, and it is like a really, really sort of thin line to walk with how fantastical of a movie it is. But it makes you feel, it tugs at your heartstrings. I mean, there's a bunch of different moments. Obviously, sort of at the end when you have he plays catch with his dad again, and and they sort of bring up all of these old moments, right? Where it's like, and the story does a very great job of sequencing that, whether it be like Moonlight Graham talking about, oh, if I was a doctor, if I miss being a doctor, right? And then you know his kid gets pushed off the bleachers, right? Or whether it being like, oh, I never got to, say, to apologize for this or whatever, and then he gets like catch and he gets to do all this, right? So I think they do a really good job of sort of keeping those moments together while still sort of playing on the fantastical baseball side of it, right?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I also think this movie looks fantastic. It's
Yes.
so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mhm.
The vast horizon of the Iowa farm, the smoky worn interior of Wrigley Field. It's all the colors are so deep, they're so vibrant. Everything on the farm. I love when they're having a picnic in the baseball diamond. I love all the shots of the sunset on the farm. I love that shot, or I love how Wrigley looks, how
Yeah.
worn it is inside. I love that scene where James Earl Jones stops Kevin Costner on the street, and it's like the street is like smoking but wet. It's a really cool look. I don't know. It's such a gorgeous movie.
Yeah. I really love like a lot of like even like specific scenes like how it's shot, where Costner's trying to convince the Madigan character that he needs to go find Terrence Mann, and sort of she's like running up and down the stairs, and like just how that sort of is played in the camera work and the shots, I think is like really, really good. Obviously, a lot less beautiful, but just sort of like well done.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, a lot of those sort of like big ones, and then of course, sort of at the end when you have the big pullout and the sort of like the reveal of, this
Yes.
mile long car line.
Well,
Uh,
in
title.
the farm's in the very small corner, and you can just see it like a snake going through the darkness. Like it's just all these dots of light. I think that shot that you're talking about, I think that also ties into like this movie is calling card for the boomers.
Yeah,
Like it's almost calling it shot. Like we know you're going to be into this. We know you're going to come aboard for this journey. And like, look, you're here. As in they all kind of are flocking back to family and back to baseball and back to the earth and I don't know. I do think this movie gets very broad in its concepts, but I think that shot is a really interesting way to end the movie. Even the Moonlight Graham RBI as
hmm
the climax of the movie, just in the way this thing is structured, there is no big, huge payoff.
yeah.
It's an
That's
emotional one.
something I forgot about too, because I had watched this movie like way, way back in the day, and then forgot almost everything before you hit me up to come on. I was like, oh, I like Field of Dreams, I think. And then I watched it again and I was like, oh, there really is no sort of like big ending thing. It's kind of like you have to sort of make it all up in your mind or sort of imagine how it'll go. And yeah, it's really, really cool.
Well, and I feel like in so many sports films, the finale becomes a big game or the championship. Like I
Yeah.
just watched a movie that I do like a lot, A League of Their Own, and
Mm.
that movie ends with the championship game. Or something like Moneyball, where the climax is the game to see if they can get the win streak. Right? Like I know I'm talking about baseball games, but even like boxing movies, they end with a big fight. Like I think of where Ali ends in its timeline with the Rumble in the Jungle. And this movie doesn't end with that. It ends with like the big baseball game is a scrimmage game where the big moment is a character gets an RBI, not
Yeah.
even a
On a
hit.
pop fly.
Yeah, it ends with like a pop fly, and it's this emotional moment where you're really happy for the kid. But it really ends with Costner playing catch with his dad, and these two bonding after they fell out so many years ago. And Costner kind of gets a chance to reunite and undo his mistakes in some way, at least in his own conscious. And it's such an interesting finale. to what this movie is. Like it's a movie that builds on emotional stakes. It doesn't really care as much about the farm closing and the threat of that being taken away. Like deep down, I feel like the threat of the farm being taken away, everybody knows it's not going to be.
No, yeah. Yeah, I think it's really weird because like especially for like a sports movie, like it's about baseball, but it's not really about baseball, like at all. Like it's not sort of present too much. Like they're not playing baseball for sort of that much of the experience, anyways, right? For pretty much the majority of the movie, it's a lot. Like you said, it's kind of like you have the hour-long road trip as well, where they're just kind of like bouncing around and doing random stuff, and this voice calls out to them. Like it's not a baseball movie, and so I think that's one of the reasons why they don't sort of end with the big bang. But it's kind of nice. It's a little bit subversive because you would expect that, right? I mean, I know I was, um, and sort of have that sort of just like nice more relaxing one, and then like I said, like the big windup of cars going into the driveway. Yeah, it was really really nice.
I mean, Roger Ebert says, he's kind of building on what you say. He says that the film stands for an earlier, simpler time when professional sports were still games and not industries.
Mhm.
And I want to throw this question out there. Is this one of the best sports films of all time? What's your kind of sports film tier list? Where's this one going?
Oh, that's tough. Remember the Titans, number one.
Okay, I like Remember the Titans.
Pretty close for me. Denzel is just that's maybe one of his best movies, which is crazy because Denzel's phenomenal.
Yeah,
So that's a tough one. I do like Moneyball. I think I'd probably put that too, even though it's a little bit tough.
it might be my number one.
Maybe your number one. It's such a good movie. I rewatch it like once a year. Like
Yeah.
it's just that good. Or you rewatch it enough on like Instagram Reels or whatever. It just happens to come up.
I mean, Brad Pitt's so fucking good in that. I mean, Brad Pitt's good in that movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman's good in that movie. Jonah Hill's good in that movie. But Chris Pratt is good in that movie.
Great in that movie. And such a like a different role for Jonah Hill too. Like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. He can like
he's so toned down.
yeah, it's so much different than what you'd expect from this guy who did like super bad and like those types of movies forever. And it's like now he's playing, now he's playing Peter Brand, and it's like,
Yeah, I
oh,
do
okay, this
also
guy can act really well in something that's not quite his style.
I do also think the best sports movies and kind of what you're spotlighting there with Remember the Titans and Moneyball and what Field of Dreams does. And also last week we talked about Bull Durham. I don't know if you've seen that one, but that's a great baseball movie. Um, is they don't focus on the sport itself. They focus on the people behind it, their relationships, and what this sport means to them.
Mhm.
Like the all-time great sports movie quote is the one from Moneyball, where it's like, how can you not be romantic about baseball?
Romantic
And
about
if
baseball.
someone said that in this movie, it would not feel out of place.
Mhm.
How can you not feel romantic about football? And you put that in Remember the Titans, it doesn't feel out of place. It's what do these sports mean to people? What do they mean to the coaches and the athletes? I mean, if we want to see a game, we can just turn on TV.
Yeah.
Like I can just turn on the Jays game if I wanted to see baseball played. But you're tuning into a sports movie to see the team behind it. And I think all these movies do such a good job of that.
And all of them sort of tackling their own sort of little issues. I mean, obviously, remember the Titans being a lot, bigger of one, being the segregation in schooling, like that was huge in that era. I don't know when
Yeah.
that came out, but
I
yeah,
mean, that movie came out in the 2000s, but it's set
yeah.
much earlier.
So it's like cool to see um, sort of all that, going down, and then Moneyball being sort of, Billy Bean's own his own struggle with being a failed player, and then the whole thing with him like losing the games whenever he shows up, and then he comes for the tiebreaker, and they're gonna lose,
Yeah.
and then they win. Like, so like you're absolutely right. It's that the best ones they aren't like. I mean, it's tough because like I think, like I said, like Field of Dreams is about baseball, but it's not about baseball. Or I think Moneyball is kind of about baseball, but it's just sort of they play a lot more on the sport as a vehicle to progress the story. Whereas I think Field of Dreams does like it does a figure eight. It sort of runs around and does it in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah. I also think Moneyball puts a lot of emphasis on a character study of Billy Bean and who this guy is. Like he's an outsider in general. He's trying to use math to solve baseball, and you see him kind of butt heads with the old traditionalist scouts and the traditionalist Philip Seymour Hoffman character, but he also has that relationship with his daughter. Like that's a movie that ends with a song sung by like a 12-year-old. It ends on a kind of a melancholic moment. Um, Billy Bean doesn't watch the baseball games. Like there's very little baseball in Moneyball. The Sorkin script, which is such a good script, talks a lot about baseball and we see a lot of the stadium, but we watch very little baseball because Billy Bean doesn't have interest in watching baseball. And it's almost like looking at athletes as people as opposed to not just numbers. Or when you use the numbers, using it to enhance their own individuality and personality and see them as something. Like it's the balance between seeing a person as a person and seeing them as 30 RBIs and 15 home runs across the course of a season.
Which I think is really interesting too, because like Moneyball specifically does it like, here's this guy, here's his like sort of like value range, but it's like, I forget the guy's name, but he's like talking about like, oh yeah, this pitcher, he's the best kept secret in baseball because he throws weird, but he's like one of the best relievers in the entire game, and it's
Yeah,
like we should be paying like 4 million for him. We can get him for 100,000. And so like it's more than just sort of like, look at this guy, like his ratings are really good and we should do that. But it's like, oh, you're kind of taking all of these like this band of misfit toys,
yep.
uh, and you're grouping them together because they're sort of like they're better than the numbers say, right?
I 100% agree. I mean, other great sports movies, there's a lot of good boxing movies. Love Raging Bull, love Ali. The Smashing Machine came out that last year. I like that one a lot.
I haven't watched that one yet. That's been on my list for a while.
It's good. I like it. It's it's less a movie about boxing than it is someone descending down like an apex mountain. It starts with The Rock at like the height of his game and like this awesome montage that's like takes place over the course of years in the same ring in like a Vegas casino where it's like the start of UFC, and it's just him kind of like getting worse. Like it's like this sounds like a bad way to sell it, but it's like what happens to a fighter or an athlete not on the way up but on the way down. Like so many sports movies are about a guy like rising to the occasion and the scrappy underdog and he wins the championship and we've seen that story. But what happens to the guy who was at the top for a few years? What happens as his body begins to decline? And what does that do to him, his mentality? What does that do to his relationships? It's a very interesting study of an athlete.
It's kind of like if Cinderella Man kept losing, almost. Have you seen?
Mm. You a fan of Cinderella Man?
I'm a big fan of Cinderella Man. It's a great movie.
I'm
I
trying
think
to think
that's
if there's any other big sports movies. I mean, if you count Pool, there's Color of Money, another movie that looks at um, the people behind the sport. Is there a big one we're missing? Feels like boxing and baseball are the best sports
yeah.
movies.
And so football has some excellent ones as well. I put Rudy in that category.
Like Rudy a lot.
Rudy's great. I know if Brian didn't, if I didn't mention that, Brian shoot me.
I
Oh,
feel like there's one.
Blindside. You
I don't like Blindside.
don't like Blindside?
No, I don't
I
care
didn't
for
realize
Blindside.
about how like horrible the people actually were to Michael Orr
Well, yeah, he came out like
a few years ago, right?
yeah, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's all bullshit." It feels like one of those movies like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner that would have come out in like the late 60s. Like I don't know. I don't like that movie at all. I'm not saying it's like offensive, but
It's not the greatest movie in the world. It's not like a
no,
masterpiece.
I
But like
also
you
don't
have
think
like
it's
an hour and
trying
a half
to
to kill.
make this big broad statement, but I don't know. I've never been a fan of it. I think like something like
Oh,
Remember the Titans is
yeah.
a much better version of that same movie.
I think infinitely. It's not even close.
Like I think Denzel also just has a better character than the Sandra Bullock character. But Remember the Titans feels like a movie about people learning to get along and accept each other and love each other and put aside their previous preconceptions and stigmas. Whereas it feels like Blindside is about like a white woman trying to make like a black dude more
Yeah,
white.
yeah, exactly. Right. That's what I was gonna say. Or it's like it plays too much, a little bit too much on the white savior, right? Where it's like, here's this guy, and he's like, he's this broke, orphan black guy, and it's like, okay, white girl, time to take him in. Like, it's
Yeah.
definitely a little bit weird, and it's like, and she like shows him how to play football too. So like, she does like everything
Yeah,
for him.
no, that part's weird too. Like I
Yeah,
don't even think he knows what football is before she shows up. Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
Best moment in the movie. If you build it, they will come. Ray meets Shoeless Joe. Annie stands up to the fascist school board committee. Ray and Terrence Mann go to Wrigley. Terrence Mann says he hears the voice. The Moonlight Graham RBI. Ray plays catch with his father. Like a lot of great moments. You can add another. I just gave you a list.
I love Ray and Terrence Mann at Wrigley. I think that one's one of my favorite, just like scenes at all. I wrote it down here because I liked a couple. The other one would have been Moonlight Graham becomes a doctor. I love that one.
That's a good scene.
But so them being at Wrigley, and then I think it's like this moment that I think is so perfect to like describe the movie where they're sort of walking and Ray's like, "Oh, what do you want?" He's like, "What do I want?" And he goes on this like, this big diatribe of all these people. I want to be left alone, right? And then it's like, "No, what do you want?" And they're at like the front and they're like ordering food, right? Where it's
Yeah,
like, so again, very serious and very silly and done in a way that I thought was like really, really funny.
yeah,
And
totally
also,
agree.
as like a small note, they get two beers and two hot dogs for $7 at an MLB
Fucking
game.
crazy. That would
That's
never happen today.
that's more magic than the fucking guys playing baseball.
Yeah,
Like
no, I believe the ghosts. $7
that's a
for
fifty
two
dollar order
stadium
today. I
beers?
went to the Jays game on
No.
Saturday. That's $50 minimum.
I haven't been to a Jays game this season. I want to go. I just haven't been. I've been keeping up with the Jays. Been
Hmm.
watching a lot of games,
Yeah.
but I don't know. How do you feel the Jays so far this season?
I don't think they're doing too bad. Too many injuries.
Too many injuries. It feels like I don't know. This fucking Rays series, man. We've now lost 4 games to the Rays so far this season. That's beating our ass.
Mhm.
I just feels like I don't know. They keep threatening to go on a run. They keep threatening to get some momentum. It seems like they're gaining morale in the dugout, but it's like Barger comes back for a day and then his elbow hurts and he's out. We
And but
just got Springer back, but he's iffy.
his
Lee
hitting hasn't been.
Savage is good. We've got him back.
Yeah, so that was the day that I went to go see. It was the day that Barger came back and Savage started, and we
It's a good
hit our
game.
high in runs and hits. So it was 14-1, just
Yeah, I
fucking
watched the game on TV.
yeah, and 20 hits. And Barger has this crazy throw from right field to tag
It
the
was
runner at
nuts.
home.
I was
Oh,
sending it to people.
awesome, dude. That was amazing. Yeah. So like it's like we have the pieces and they're there. I think really we just need the hitting. Like that needs to improve. Like kind of
Yeah.
ASAP.
Anyway, quick shout out to my favorite scene. My
Yes.
two favorites. I love when Terrence Mann says he hears the voice.
Hmm.
When he like stands in front of the van as Costner's trying to pull out and he like says what he heard. I got chills.
Yeah.
I'm man enough to admit it.
Yeah.
And I like when Annie stands up to the school board committee. I think that's a good moment. I think that's Madigan's best scene, and it's nice that she really gets a moment to shine in this movie. I like that part a lot. Also, I like when Ray meets Shoeless Joe. I think that's such a honestly, that's probably my favorite scene. That's why I brought it up so early on. But it's like you said, it's very quiet. It looks beautiful. The horizon just goes on forever into like this endless field of corn and just the way it's set up. The joy these two men have in hanging out with each other and playing baseball and I don't know, Costner, he's not just like I don't know, hitting home runs or hitting these huge fly balls. He's like he kind of misses one of the
He
balls. He's
missed one at the beginning.
trying
Yeah.
to hit it out to the or hit it out to him in the infield. And no, that's such a good moment. Okay, we'll finish off the episode strong. Best supporting performance.
I
Okay. Best supporting performance. I got Amy Madigan, Annie Kinsella, James Earl Jones, Terrence Mann, Ray Liotta, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Burt Lancaster as the old Moonlight Graham.
I think that it's James Earl Jones, and I don't think it's particularly close, in my opinion. All of his delivery and lines are just like excellent because like it's kind of what you were talking about earlier, where it's like a lot of the old or older movies, you can kind of tell a little bit where it's like, oh, that's like they're acting, right? And you can kind of like have that. But I feel like I never had that once with him, and all of his scenes are just like, I mean, part of it's the voice, man. That shit just draws you in. There's a reason he's such a
I was gonna say that. It
yeah,
goes to say one of the all-time great film voices.
yeah. It's not even close.
I mean, that's such an interesting character. I'm gonna throw this out now, but uh in the book this is based on, the character he's playing is J.D. Salinger, like Catcher in the
Hmm.
Rye, Franny and Zoe. Um, I mean, I read Perfect Day for Banana Fish a little bit ago, that short story that he wrote, and that's a good short story. Um, and I love Catcher in the Rye. But
Yeah.
in this, it's like he's kind of J.D. Salinger, as in like he's a recluse and he's like hiding from society. He's a little Thomas Pynchon. He's a little James Baldwin. Um, in the politics and the voice of the generation stuff. I don't know. He's a weird mix of 60s counterculture authors, 60s and
Hmm.
70s counterculture. I mean, there's even a little Vonnegut in there. He's like an odd mix, but um of different literary influences, I guess. He's my favorite as well. I love his chunk of the movie. Just fantastic. But I do like Ray Liotta, Shoeless Joe. I
Really
think
Otis great as well.
he
Yeah.
does what he needs to do here. I
Hmm.
love Amy Madigan.
Yeah.
I think she's really, that first third of the movie, she's helping a lot. And I mean, I think the other three haven't beat because they're just in way more of the movie. But I
Mhm.
do really enjoy that Burt Lancaster. The two
Yes.
scenes he's in as old man Moonlight Graham.
Yeah, because he has the monologue when it's just him talking with Ray, and he's like, I just wanted to like, what do I want? I want to, hit a ball. I want to, dive to third. I want to hug the base, right? I think that's like sort of well delivered, and then sort of capping it off with, I think it'd be like a mistake if I was only a doctor, or if I was almost a doctor.
Yeah.
I think that was a very, very good scene as well.
And when he's having that conversation with Costner, there's just like an authority to which he holds the screen. Like Burt Lancaster, one of those old movie stars, like he's just got it. And it's the voice and just that's a movie star right there.
Yeah.
And so when he shows up an hour and 10 minutes into a movie, he basically has like 3 minutes of screen time and it's all memorable. Like Burt Lancaster just so good at just showing up and dominating a movie for like one scene. Like Sweet Soul Success, he's great in. He plays like a newspaper columnist, like a big New York one, and he's just great in that. But I'm gonna have to agree with you on James Earl Jones. We've got three Oscar nominations: Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay for Phil Alden Robinson, who's also the director. We should shout him out. Obviously, this is well directed. We've talked about how this is well written. Um, and it's inside the Actors Studio episode. Costner was shouting out how he wished Phil Alden Robinson got more credit for Field of Dreams because of all the
Mhm.
work he did on it and how much he shaped that movie. So I guess let's give him a shout out here.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting. This is adapted from a novel called Shoeless Joe, written by W.P. Kinsella, which is the same as Ray Kinsella, the main character. Thought you'd find that interesting.
I kind of like that naming the characters after yourself. It's
Yeah, it's the same last name. I don't know.
yeah.
It's another thing that shows it's a personal story despite all the magical elements. And then
Mhm.
best original score. Score's
Yeah.
good.
I thought the score was amazing. Even
Yeah.
sort of because I read it a little bit, just glazed through the dossier before rewatching it. And the moment where they're in bed, and he like at the very beginning of the movie, and he hears the voice again, and they're playing this like very like suspenseful like little theme, and I was like, oh, like this is like very, very well done. I think a great score, um, like you notice it in sort of the big moments, and in the little moments it's just natural, right? Where it's like this is exactly what I should be hearing right now, if that makes sense.
100%. And I think it does so much to really just increase the impact of the big emotional moments. In the ending, we talked about this ending a ton, but it's great. In the moment where James Earl Jones says he hears the voice as well, it's great. When he's making the baseball field, that great montage. And once again, all that farm stuff looks so good. But it just, the music and the visuals, everything is just, it's really enhancing what this is. And Costner's in the middle of it, just grounding this movie with such a naturalistic performance. And he's giving himself over to the sincerity of this movie and in such a admirable way that if he ever tried to skirt it and not buy into it and act like he was above it, which is something a big movie star of his stature could do,
No,
it would
absolutely.
make this movie not good.
Mhm.
But all these things are working in tandem to make something that is very sincere and trying to speak to a generation and generations in the future. We're sitting here 37 years later. Um,
Talking about some ghosts playing baseball.
yeah, I mean, it's so good. In the
Yeah,
movie, I checked this today because I just want to throw this out. We've been talking a lot about the differences between movies then and now. I'm just gonna throw out what was in theaters during this opening weekend, which was May 12th, 1989.
oh,
Today.
it's really close. Wait, that's today.
Today. So
Wait, that's
opening
crazy.
weekend back in 1989. We're filming this on May 12th.
That's
I'll read
awesome.
out some of the movies that are in there. Number one at the box office, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Hmm. Yeah.
Classic. Field of Dreams is number two. The Old School Pet Cemetery down at number four. Major League at six.
Good.
Roadhouse at seven. It's a different time. Rain Man hanging on at nine. Came out
Ooh,
in December 16th. Still in theaters 5 months later at number nine.
it's a great
Making
movie.
$7.8 million this weekend.
Hmm. Oh,
Crazy stuff.
crazy. Yeah.
Anything else in here? I'm just looking. I
Yeah,
don't know.
fun.
Heather's is at 35. Working Girl at 22. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just a different movie going culture. Crazy that Major League and Field of Dreams opened 2 weeks
Big weekend for
apart.
baseball.
Well, people wanted baseball movies.
Yeah. That's kind of right around when it started to sort of really go ham.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, even I think one of the like the really cool features about the movie is that it's like even though it is like a very silly movie, they keep it pretty realistic in terms of like the like all the Sox players, they have like the old gloves, right?
I
The
love all the uniforms
yeah,
too.
yeah. Oh, that old
They're
Sox jersey is
yeah.
so cool, man.
I don't know. It all looks so authentic. I love that. You know what scene's great? Because the first time the person who comes to the field, it's Shoeless Joe.
Hmm.
And it's just him, and he has a great one with Costner. But I love that shot. Might be my favorite shot in the movie now I'm thinking about it. Of all the ball players coming out of the corn.
Yeah,
And they're all like palling around, they're all like bumping into each other and laughing and joking. And they got the classic uniforms on. It's just that image of them all like coming out of the corn. So cool.
yeah. And they're just like just yapping at each other, like oh, and they're making fun of each other, and they're just having a great time. I think it's awesome.
Okay.
Hmm.
Carly likes to do trivia. I don't know if you've seen a full episode of this show.
I have seen.
You
I
don't have
watched.
to say you've seen a full episode.
I watched the Scarface one.
Oh, did you?
I did. It was
Um, Thank you. But Carly makes trivia, so she's made
awesome.
10 trivia questions for you about Kevin
Wow.
Costner.
Okay.
No one's ever gotten seven.
No one's ever gotten
She makes
seven.
these stupidly
What's
hard.
what's the lowest anyone's ever got?
I think I went 1 for 10 once. She
That's
makes
funny.
mine brutal. She makes mine really bad. If you want to see the real fuck trivia, I don't know if you've seen Uncut Gems,
Hmm.
but when just skip to the end of that episode, when Alicia has to do the trivia, the questions Carly's asking are just fucked up. Like
Oh.
she's asking like what color tie did he wear on the red carpet?
The fuck? Oh, that's just random.
So this is the Kevin Quizner challenge.
Nice.
True or false, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were extras on the set of Field of Dreams.
I'll say true. I mean, it feels like it's a little bit too random.
True, they're baseball fans visiting the stadium.
Nice. Yeah,
You
that's
already
what.
tied my lowest. Number
Nice.
two, what is the name of Kevin Costner's character in Yellowstone? Give you four options. Jacob Dutton, John Dutton, James Dutton, Jim Dutton.
Aren't James and Jim the same name, really?
Yes,
But I'll say John Dutton, I think.
it is John Dutton the third. Kevin Costner returned to directing in 2024 with Horizon and American Saga Part 1. Have you seen that?
Oh, no.
It's a big mess. It's like over 3 hours long.
Jesus.
He's like bankrupt now because he put all his money into this. Was his break from directing higher or lower than 15 years?
Say higher.
It is higher. You're 3 for 3.
So
Kevin Costner's property near Aspen, Colorado, called Dunbar Ranch, can be rented out for how much a night? 12,000, 18,000, 28,000, 36,000.
28.
It's 36,000.
Six. It was between those two. I thought the other ones were a little bit small, but
Does
yeah,
Kevin Costner read reviews of his films?
no.
He does.
That's
Blowing the lead is 3 for 5. The
yeah.
James Earl Jones. Oh, I kind of spoiled this. I should have read this beforehand. The James Earl Jones role in Field of Dreams, Terrence Mann, was supposed to be a depiction of which famous author before it was changed when the real life author threatened to sue?
I think
A.
it's
Stephen King, B. J.D. Salinger, C. John Grisham, D. Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah, I probably would have gotten that one wrong, I think, but I'll take the free one.
Here you go with JD.
Yeah.
True or false? A scene where Ray visits a hearing specialist was cut from Field of Dreams.
That's such a weird question because it would be such like an interesting thing for Carly to just come up with without. I'll say true because I think that's crazy. Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
We're at 5 for 7. You're chasing a record. How many canoes did Costner build before he was 18? I'll give you
Canoes?
options. Canoes.
A boat.
Yeah. Zero. A, zero. These are the kind of questions you're getting. If you want to beat the record, you gotta get these questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Canoes. A, zero.
Mhm.
B, one.
Mhm.
C, three. D, six.
It's tough because my brain's telling me like either zero or three. I'll say three.
It is three.
Let's go.
Wow, we're at
Yeah.
6 for 8 right here. What were the names of the two Keurig coffee flavors that Costner helped develop for a Keurig Father's Day campaign? A. Horizon Blend and Mountainside Mocha. B. Bodyguard Blend and Field of Beans. C. The Western Dark Roast and Mountainside Medium Roast. D. Yosemite Blend and Natural Roast.
I think I just have to go with Field of Beans because I think it's so funny. And even if I'm wrong, I think that's
Carly
awesome.
made that up.
That's so funny. That's so good. Was it A is the first one?
A was
Okay.
A.
Oh no.
Okay, so you can tie the record right here.
Okay.
Oh wait, this would be 7. I think you could just beat it.
I beat the record. Okay.
Which iconic pop star did Kevin Costner sit next to at the SNL 50th anniversary special?
Oh,
A. Lady Gaga, B. Cher, C. Madonna, D. Benson Boone.
so Lady Gaga.
It was Cher.
Oh,
So I think that means you tied the record because I think Lucy got 6 on that Suicide Squad episode we did last month.
okay. I'm down with that. I can take that.
So you did pretty well, man. You did pretty well.
Should've
You
gone
were
with
on
my
a heater there.
Should've gone with but I love Field of Beans. That's so
Field of
awesome.
Beans is good. Good job, Carly. Shout out. When she edits this, she'll see it. There we go. Is there anything else you want to bring up about Field of
I'd love
Dreams?
to end on what I have is kind of I don't know, like a bit of a conspiracy theory, which is definitely like not like a big idea in the movie or like
What's your conspiracy theory about Field of
just like
Dreams?
within the movie. I think that Terrence Mann is dead the entire time.
Okay.
So when
Did you come up with this? I've never
yeah,
heard this.
this is just all
Oh,
me.
okay.
Okay, because this is what
I'm
I
ready to hear this. I'm sitting back. You take
this is
over.
what I first thought at the like when it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna go walk into the cornfield, right? He's dead. Like that's what the ghosts do, right? And I mean,
Mm.
when they meet, you never see him Terrence Mann interact with anybody other than Ray, who's been known to just sort of like conjure up the ghosts, sort of if when he needs, and usually after hearing the voice, right? So he hears the voice the first time, he makes the baseball field, and then he sees Shoeless Joe, right? Hears it again, eases pain, figures out it's Terrence Mann, goes, finds Terrence Mann, right? Then same thing, go the distance, goes, finds Moonlight Graham, right? After they go to like try and find Graham, he sees in the news, right? He's like, "Oh, you're missing right now." Right? And he shows the thing of like, "Oh, like they can't find you. They don't know where you're at," right? And it's like, I think he's been dead this entire time. Like he's been like dead or missing or whatever. Like he's,
Well, that's why he can walk into the cornfield. That's why he can just
exactly.
fade
That's
away.
why he
Yeah.
came up with the cornfield. Because he's
Okay. And he
croaked and then
doesn't
he's
come
like
back. He
fallen
doesn't come
into
back
yeah.
after that.
No, he's gone the whole like that's his last scene. And like that's what they talked
Hmm.
about, like Shoeless Joe, like the Ray Liotta, it's like he was like the voice, right? And he was the one that was like talking to him, right? And he was like, "Oh, um, if you build it, he will come," right?
Yeah.
And sort of the opposite to that is like Terrence Mann's character, right before he walks into the cornfield, he's being like, "Oh, they'll come, they'll absolutely come," which is sort of again more of that sort of mystical, magical thing. And then he walks off into the cornfield. He's dead. Like
I
I
like
absolutely
this
think that.
theory. I like this. I don't know if I'm 100% on board, but I really like this theory. I
Yeah.
think it explains the him walking into the cornfield. It definitely
Yeah.
explains his final scene.
Hmm.
And well, it also you can say, I'm not saying I'm fully on board with the theory yet, but you could also say the reason he's a recluse and no one's found him is because he's dead.
Yeah, straight up.
He just died in isolation. And it's him reconnecting with people before he goes off to heaven or wherever he's going.
Because what
An
what does he
interesting
want?
theory.
All he wants is to be left alone. That's his whole thing.
He's
Hmm.
in purgatory. He doesn't want to go. He's
Yeah,
nervous. And it's those
absolutely.
guys who bring him across the border. That's interesting. I like that.
I saw that and I thought it was going to kind of like be revealed because that's what I was like thinking when it's like, oh yeah, like he's coming because Ray's not invited because he's still alive. That's why he's not
Mm.
invited, right?
That's good. I like
Mhm.
that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna wrap the podcast up. Quade, do you got anything you want to shout out?
No, I don't know.
You can
Excellent
shout out
time.
whatever you want. Is there any movies you've been watching? Any albums you've been listening to? Like
Uh,
Silas shouted out J. Cole. Sabrina Carpenter's been shouted out on the show.
I don't know. What do I shout out right now?
Nirvana the band, the show, the movie's been shouted out. I'm trying to think of some stuff.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll rip that too. I'll second that. That is a
Nirvana the band, the show, the movie. It's good.
McFarlane USA. Yeah.
I like
If you
McFarlane.
haven't
I
seen
love
it,
that
you
movie as
have
a
to.
kid.
It's great.
Love
Yeah,
that movie as a kid.
it's so good.
Okay. Thank you, Quade, for coming on. You were awesome. I appreciate it. This
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. To everybody listening, I don't know, follow on Spotify. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Come back next week for Kevin Costner's Best Picture winning, Best Director winning for Costner, Field of Dreams, one of the uh, most iconic, most famous Westerns ever. Another real dad movie. That's my granddad's favorite movie of all time.
Sorry,
And
which one?
then
Because you said Field of Dreams again.
I said Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
When did I say? Oh, do I got to do it again? Okay, we're
Yeah.
gonna rewind that. Come back, come back next week for Dances with Wolves.
This is the Wolves. Yeah, that makes
One
more
of the
sense.
most iconic Westerns of all time. Kevin Costner's Best Picture winner, his Best Director winner. One of the highest highs anybody has soared in Hollywood ever. Richard's the guest for that. That's going to be a great episode. Once again, thank you to Quaid for coming on. I can never do these fucking outros. Thank you everybody for tuning in to the Coyote Picture Club. Have a great night.